evening. Welcome to Soul Centered Millionaire TV. I'm not in my normal place today, so I'm normally live across on my business page, but it's took the live button again. So Facebook's been malfunctioning recently. Any of you that are logged in that have noticed this, that run online businesses, that do regular lives from a business page, have you noticed that Facebook have been playing about with the live button? So every now and then it disappears and then comes back. Sometimes you can access it from the app only, sometimes from the desktop only. It's been really temperamental and driving me nuts, but I thought the show must go on. Absolutely have to share this training with you tonight because I know it's needed. I know there's a lot of struggle out there at the moment. I've always got my ear to the ground for what's going on in the business world, how women are feeling. There's always patterns. There's always like collective patterns. Good evening, Kerry. Make sure you're commenting and letting me know who's listening. Say hey. There's always collective patterns. I always notice, you know, that phrase like, oh, there's something in the air. That phrase, there's something in that phrase. Hey, Kate, good morning over there. Normally, there's like spurts of struggle, and it can be certain times of the year, certain times of the month. Hey, Jackie. And I'm always listening to that. I'm responding to that. And the team receives a lot of emails, a lot of inbox messages from people. And we're always talking about this stuff. We look at the clients that we're working with and we say, what's coming up? Like, what are the patterns that are appearing recently? Like, where are people struggling the most and why? And one of the things that we've noticed that around this time of the year, and it's the same every year, there's this feeling of, there can be a bit of a flat feeling. Now, you might not be feeling like this right now, and that's fine. You might want to put this training in your back pocket for when you do feel like this, because we all have peaks and troughs in our mood when we're growing a business. But there can be this feeling of, you know, that like blur feeling where you feel a bit flat, a bit disillusioned by the process of building a business. You might feel a bit foggy, like you can't see the woods for the trees. I'm not quite sure what I should be focusing on. Hey, Anne, how you doing? I'm not quite sure whether I'm focusing on the right things. I'm not really enjoying the ride, you know. I just feel a little bit like I don't wake up excited and buzzing and motivated and inspired. That's what I mean by flat and foggy. That's how I describe it. Who can relate? Give me some hearts if you can relate to these feelings. So many of your friends have felt like this today. Okay, it's a real pattern at the moment. So who can relate? Type in the chat box if it's, I can relate right now, like this is how I'm feeling right now. So just type now. Or, hey Faye, hey Hayley. Or is it I have felt like that. So it comes up. So either right now or it comes up. Type in the chat box and let me know where you're at. These Soul Centered Millionaire TV episodes are about helping you in the best possible way. The more I know about you, the more I can help you. Oh, okay. So definitely being one of these. So who else? Who else wants to share? Totally know what you mean. Now, okay, Kate, I've got you. Don't worry, we're going to sort this out today. It comes up, Nicola. Okay, so not for you right now. Brilliant, really good to hear it, but it comes up. So we can all agree that we go through moments of feeling a bit flat, a bit foggy, a bit despondent, not overly excited. It comes up, but you're feeling good right now. Good, Faye, I'm really glad you're feeling good right now. So you want to keep this in your back pocket because we go through that. We're not going to feel positive and amazing all the time, but this today is about how to get to that place, how to go from feeling a bit shitty to fierce and unstoppable, and how to do it quickly. Because imagine a world where you could do that. Imagine a world where your recovery time was less, and it didn't matter what the challenges of being a businesswoman thrown at you. You could pick yourself up quite quickly and get back to being fully focused and feeling unstoppable and feeling energized and enthusiastic and feeling inspired and motivated. Imagine how productive you would be. Hey, Jessie, imagine how much you'd get done, how much you'd progress and how quickly you'd progress if you could do that. And that's what I want to share with you tonight, because it's totally possible. It's totally possible, but we've got to focus on the right things. Now, here's what tonight's not. It's not about strategy. We're not talking about business strategy, because when we feel like this, very often it's not about the strategy. The feeling needs to shift before we can even focus on the right strategy. So this is about the magic. We're going to talk about the magic tonight. So I always say Soul Centered Millionaire TV, which is every week, same time, this time. is about no bullshit business strategy combined with a sprinkle of magic. And what I mean by magic is universal law, the law of attraction, total soul alignment to where we're going, the woo-woo stuff, the stuff that we can't quite put our finger on, but we know it's there and we know that it's always playing out and always working out for us. It's that stuff. If we get too stuck in the woo-woo with a lack of strategy, we can end up going round in circles, feeling our way without processes and policies. That can hinder our success. We end up too stuck in the masculine, like the processes, the strategies, the strategic thinking, the no bullshit. Then that can hinder our success. But somewhere in the middle is this sweet spot, the place where the magic happens, the place where we progress easier, in flow. So tonight is about the magic. So no strategy. I will warn you now, we're going to get really woo-woo tonight. We're going to talk about some stuff that, depending on where you're at in your journey and what your belief systems are, might challenge you a little bit. Feel free to look away now if you're not into the woo-woo. This one definitely isn't going to be for you. I'm going to be referring tonight to my book, Miss Moneybags. Who's read my book? Comment in the chat box if you've read this already. I'm not going to be just reading from it, so even if you've read it tonight, you're still going to learn something new. But I'm going to be referring to it. I'm going to be referring to chapter 1. And this is going to help you get unstuck fast, okay? So chapter 1 is called Think and Feel Your Way to Wealth. I'm just going to read this little bit, the intro to chapter 1 to you, so you know where we're going with the training tonight. And you're going to be able to go away tonight with an action plan on how you can feel good right now, feel inspired right now, feel fierce and motivated right now. Who's ready? Comment in the chat box and say, I'm ready. Yes, lots of you have read it. Oh, good. And some of you are saying, I need to read it. Well, you're going to learn a little bit about it tonight. Okay, so I start by saying, when your thinking changes, the whole world, as you know it, changes forever. Your thoughts create the world you live in, and no one can take that power from you. You have the innate ability to consciously create your best life and your best income. The world is changing as a new wave of female entrepreneurs lights up and changes the way people do business, creates wealth and impacts lives. That impacts the lives of others. You are part of that change. I'm talking to you. And you're being called to act. It all starts with your thoughts. Change your thoughts, change your life, and then change the world around you. But it all starts with us, right? That's a call to action for you. Because this is why I do what I do. Okay. I want to start by sharing with you where my journey started with this and why I'm qualified to share this stuff with you. And it's not because I've got a degree in manifestation, universal law, or even business. It's because I can look you in the eye right now and say to you, I know exactly where you are because I was there. And this is my honest account, how I went from kind of struggle and not living my best life with my best income to today. I honestly sometimes struggle to set goals, and that's the truth. Sometimes I struggle to set goals because I've got everything that I want. I am so blessed. And it starts here and it starts today. It starts with this stuff. You'll hear a lot of successful people say, and you'll see me look down sometimes, I'm going to be referring to this but not reading to it. You'll hear a lot of successful people say that there was a series of events, or there was an event, there was one moment that changed everything, like a catalyst moment, like a trigger moment that set off a course of events that changed their life. And I'm no different. There was an event for me. There was a seemingly ordinary day in 2012, so 8 years ago now. And James and I were running the nightclub business that we had. So that involved us going into businesses, nightclubs, making them busy. And we got paid when people walked through the front door. The door entry was our money. The bar money was the bar's money. When we'd made these nightclubs the place to be, we were made redundant because the club didn't need us anymore. So whenever we did a really great job, we made ourselves redundant. So our income always did this. We never felt completely safe. And on this particular day, it was an ordinary day. And I want you to take note of that. Life-changing days seem like all the others on the morning when you open your eyes. You don't wake up and think today's going to be the day that everything changes for me and know it for sure. Like it seems ordinary. And this day was completely ordinary for me. I woke up, I was absolutely shattered. I remember that. I remember that I'd got a hairdresser's appointment on the morning. I'd worked the night shift. So I'd only had a couple of hours sleep and I was tired and I wasn't feeling very enthusiastic about life. I wasn't unhappy. I've got a great relationship and there was a lot of really great things going on for me, but I was a bit blah that day. And I went into the salon and I loved going into the salon. I'd go monthly and my hairdresser, John, was the best because he was so positive. He was one of these people that, you know, you just want to sit in their energy. Like he just oozes positivity. And no matter how shit your day had been, it would always make you feel good. And I'd walk in, he's a gay guy, and he'd be like, hey, beautiful, I'm going to make you feel fabulous today. Who's got a friend like that? Tag your friend like that right now and say, thank you for brightening my world. I challenge you to do that because we don't always recognize that, but these people are so valuable to us. So he was that person for me. And once a month, hey, Joanne, I would go and see John to get my hair done. And on this particular day, he was doing my hair. As he always does, we were chatting about anything and everything. And he said to me at one point, how's business? And I said, oh, it's good. You know, it's good. But I don't know how long it'll stay good. You know what it's like. Our business is really up and down. It can be great today and next week it'll be shit. And I just kind of went, and he stopped what he was doing, really serious. And he's not serious very often. I was a bit scared. He turned my chair around, you know, those swivel chairs. He bent down really quite dramatically and got eyeball to eyeball with me and he went, shh, you need to be very careful, Michelle, what you're saying, because the universe is listening. And I just kind of looked at him like, what the fuck? He's lost his mind. Because I hadn't read any self-development books at this point. I didn't know about the law of attraction. What he was saying to me sounded like he needed help, maybe. Like I needed to call a doctor. And he obviously got that from the look on my face because I really didn't know how to respond. And he said, you don't know about the secret, do you? I was like, the secret? What secret would that be? And it was getting more awkward by the second because, I mean, I like the guy. I don't want to make him look a twat. I didn't want to go, what the fuck, what's wrong with you? But so I was being polite and kind of going, trying to, is this a funny moment? Do we laugh at this? Like, what's going on? And he said, look, I know you don't get what I'm talking about. All I'm going to say to you is you need to get a book called The Secret. He went and got a pen and paper straight away. He wrote it down. He wrote the author's name down. And he said to me, promise me that when you leave here, you'll order it from eBay, Amazon, whatever, and you'll have read it by the time you come in to the salon next. Because I'm going to ask you about it. And he held me accountable. Everybody needs a friend like that. And that day, that man was a catalyst moment. It was a turning point. I left the salon because he was so serious and because it was so out of character for him. I ordered the book. Literally on the way home, I ordered the book. And it arrived the next day. I paid for next day delivery. And when it arrived, I couldn't wait to read it because I was like, what is it about? What is this secret? And obviously it was called The Secret. And it looked almost like, obviously it was a new book, but it looked old and grand and mysterious. So I couldn't wait to open it. And so it was. That was my introduction to the law of attraction. That was my introduction to the world of self-development. And suddenly I realized for the first time, this is in my control. I no longer get to say, it's not my fault, it's shit because it's that person's fault, it's the economy, I no longer get to say that. Now, some people wouldn't like that as a concept because some people quite like, I think, to stay where they are and moan that it's impossible for them to change it. because it becomes their significance, it becomes their story. So some people have a really hard time with The Secret when they find it, because they're like, oh my God, no, that can't be right. No, that means that everything that bad that happens, I'm responsible for. It means that I'm responsible that my bank account's empty. It means I'm responsible for the fact that my business is a mess, or I'm in a job that I hate, or my relationship shit. No, I would prefer to blame everybody else, but I wasn't one of those people. It empowered me. I wanted to be responsible and in control. I wanted to believe that I could have, be, create anything that I wanted. And although this book should have sounded bonkers, because let's face it, comment, who's read The Secret? Just give me a yes, I've read it. Yes, I've read it if you have. I know that it's quite commercialized, it's quite simplified to make it mainstream, it's very American, and Europeans can sometimes struggle with it. I know all of that. I get it. But there's no denying that when you read it for the first time, although it should sound crazy, for me, it was like, part of me knows this is true. This feels like I'm remembering rather than learning, right? That's how it felt to me. This should sound crazy, but there's a part of me that gets this. Yeah, absolutely. I can see all of you. And I knew that most of you would go, yeah, read it. Because you're past this point of where I was in this part of the journey. This is my introduction moment. This was my like, oh my God moment. But then came the struggle. Because I did the dream board. I did everything that this book describes. And then I started to get really frustrated because it didn't happen instantly. And money didn't fall out of the sky. And my Range Rover didn't just rock up and park itself on the drive and say, happy birthday. And I started to get like, I've been doing everything. And if I hear one more time that you've got to see it in your mind before you feel it in your hand, I'm going to fucking kill someone. Like, where the fuck is my money? That's how I started to get. Who's been there? Who's been there? Give me some hearts. Or comment in the chat box if you can relate. Can you relate to feeling, or almost starting to not believe it and start thinking, what if it's a load of bollocks? What if I've just bought into some like crazy cult shit that doesn't actually work? And all this, that voice. Who can relate? Is it just me? Have you been there? Seriously. I have. I'll hold my hands up. Can you do that? Is there an emoji that's like one-handed, like holding your hand up? I think there is. If there is, find it for me right now. Comment. And hold your hand up and say, or we can do two. We can do two hands. Okay, yeah. So it's not just me. This is where I then, through grappling with this, and I became obsessed with the law of attraction. Yes, there is one of those emojis. Thank you for sharing it. I became obsessed with the law of attraction and everything about it. I didn't just stop at The Secret. I consumed every article, every video, every book, anything that was about this topic. I wanted to know more. And I decided that it's not enough to do stuff every now and then get pissed off. I've got to master this. I'm breaking the habit of a lifetime here. I've got to become better in order to have this stuff. And in my book, I share my 7 steps that made all the difference. I'm going to share these 7 steps with you now that's going to make all the difference to you right now, should you choose to embrace them. And that's bold, isn't it, me saying that? Saying to you, this is going to make a big difference to you sounds bold, but I'm confident that it will. I'm really confident that if you listen to what I've got to say and you do these things, it can be a very quick turnaround in everything changing. So are we ready? Are we ready? Give me some hearts if you're ready, so I know you're still listening. And I'm going to ask you to interact with me all the way through, because I know the people that interact, the people that fully immerse, the people that always get the results every time. And I've worked with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of women in coaching programs, and I know that to be true. So where are you, my full immersers? Comment in the chat box and tell me that you're ready to go. Tell me that you're following me, and tell me that you're making notes. There's a saying that goes something like, the sharpest of pencils will never be as sharp as the sharpest of, no, the sharpest of minds is never as sharp as the sharpest of pencils, or something like that. Just totally fucked up that saying. Okay, here we go. So, step 1, we've got to get really clear on what we want. Now, I'm not going to insult your intelligence here. and talk to you about goal setting, because I know you, and I know that you know this. I know that you already know the importance of having really clear goals, because you're here. You're my kind of woman. Like, you're already at that stage. So I'm not going to do that. But what I do know for sure is that most people, probably 98% of the women that ever reach out to me for help, don't have specific enough goals. And we're talking about the woo-woo here, so I'm going to say it. If you're confused about your goals, then you can bet your bottom dollar that the universe is confused. If they're not specific enough, then it won't quite know how to deliver it to you. It will hinder the process of manifesting the things that you want. And I mean ridiculously specific. A few years ago, before I wrote my book, I was doing a Facebook Live like this, and I was talking about manifestation. And it was like an introductory session to manifesting. And it was for people that it was probably a new concept for. And people like me, when I went to the hairdressers that day, and a lady was logged in listening to it. And I said on this Facebook Live, I said, look, if this feels crazy to you, and manifesting $1 million, manifesting a 6-figure business, manifesting whatever it might be that you really want feels stupid almost, start with something small. Because the thing is, everything's energy, fact. If you can attract a feather and something as light and as simple as that, then you can attract $1 million. Because it's effortless. The universe doesn't say, well, that's easy, but that's hard. Like, none of that stuff's relevant. Energy is energy. But for your benefit, for it to feel a smoother process for you, transitioning into this concept, start with something small. And I told a story about when I manifested a shooting star. And this lady reached out to me a couple of days later, and she said, Michelle, I've just been smacked with a big lesson in being specific. I watched your live, manifestation's new to me. I decided I wanted to manifest a deer. She said, I love deer, it's my favourite animal. I don't really see them in the wild, in the flesh. I've seen them in like reserves and stuff like that. But the area that I live in, I just, it's not something you'd see. So I decided I wanted to manifest a deer. So I said out loud, and I wrote down, send me a deer. Universe, send me a deer. Send me a deer and show me that this shit's real. Like, it was her little sign. She went about a day, and she's driving down the road, and there on the side of the road is a dead deer. And she said, Michelle, I wasn't trying to manifest roadkill. Like, that is not what I had in mind. But I wasn't specific enough. I didn't say I want a vibrant, healthy, live deer bouncing through the fields. I said, show me a deer. And there it was, dead, squished on the side of the road, but it was definitely a deer. And it was a big lesson in being really, really specific. I advise my clients to focus on one thing and keep it really, really simple. When I first started, I'd make vision boards, and it'd have houses, cars, holidays, and all this stuff on. And sometimes, I'll be honest, I'd look at it and I'd think, it would feel overwhelming. It would feel really overwhelming. It'd feel like loads of different things that I was trying to focus on. But actually, if you just pick one thing that will give you all of that, like one goal that means you hit all of the umbrella goals underneath it. Might be one amount of income that will give you all of that. One amount of clients per month that would give you all of that. Whatever it might be. It's easier to focus on. So type in the chat box and let me know, do you feel like you have one focus right now? Or is there some work to do? Share. Do you feel like there's like multiple focuses? Because the thing is, like, for the universe to deliver what you want, you've got to engage all of yourself, your mind, your body, your spirit. You've got to be really focused on what it is that you're going after. And you've got to be able to see it. You've got to be able to, like, me to say to you, what's the one thing right now? And you just know. I could wake you up in the middle of the night and you're like half asleep, like, what's the one thing? And you'll know. It's got to be here at the forefront of your mind constantly. Comment. Do you have that? Be honest. Yes, I know my one thing. Well, no, I'm not. I don't know my one thing. Okay, see, so much going on, fog. And this is really common. So that's step one, get ridiculously clear. Step two, become obsessed. Obsession, the word obsession has got a really bad rep. Obsession is not a bad word. It can be seen as a negative word, but honestly, it's the only word that I can use to articulate the level of focus and attention that you need to put onto this one thing in order to manifest it into your life quickly. Allow yourself to be completely and utterly obsessed by it. The one thing that I focused on once was 10K a month, because I'd look at the vision board and it was all this stuff, and I knew that I was kind of meant to visualize, and I knew that I was meant to focus on these things, but it felt like there was so much to focus on and so much to visualize that I ended up just not doing it at all, if I'm completely honest. But then I realized I needed to focus on one thing, and I thought, right, if I was earning 10K a month, then I could have all of that. I could have the travel. James and I could just be at home working together, or not home, wherever we feel like it. Neither of us would need to worry about a job. He wouldn't have to go and do the work that he hates. Like, all of these things would fall into place if we had 10 grand a month profit. So that became my one thing. And I allowed myself to become ridiculously obsessed with that one thing. I changed all my passwords on my computer to 10K months. It was just, my every thought was around 10K a month, 10K a month, 10K a month. And you'll be amazed at how your brain almost reroutes to make it happen. You start spotting opportunities that you wouldn't have spotted before that can help you get this 10K. Everything started to fall into place. I'd walk around the house chanting, I earn 10K a month, I earn 10K a month. I tell my friends, my family, everybody, my goal's 10K a month, I'm going for it. I allowed it to completely and utterly consume me. I want to ask you something. Let's say that you were a betting man, woman, and you liked to bet. Now, if you were betting in a race and there was two people in that race, and you were going to get £1,000 in the next 10 minutes if you bet on the right person winning the race. Let's say one of them was completely and utterly consumed by winning. They were obsessed by winning. They talked about it all the time. They basically did everything I've just mentioned above. They allowed it to consume them. They chanted about it. They changed all the passwords to winner. They told everybody they were going to win. They were like focused on winning. And the other guy did the same amount of physical training. Everything physically stayed the same, but he didn't have the same focus on winning. Who would you back? Who would you back? Would you back person A, who was obsessed, or person B, who did the same physical work but wasn't obsessed? Be honest, who would you back? You would back the person that's obsessed, consumed by it, because you know that that's going to give them the edge. You've got to back yourself. You've got to back yourself, and you've got to give yourself the edge by allowing yourself to become fucking obsessed by the next thing that you're going after. Step 3. So we know what it is. 1 thing. 2, obsessed, consumed. 3, visualize. Now, I used to be a little bit, I resisted visualizing. I tell you why, I didn't like it. I used to struggle with it. I created a story that I struggled with it. I'd close my eyes and be like, oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. I'd start thinking about what I was going to have for dinner, or I remember hearing about an experiment, and it was conducted on 3 groups of athletes. And this is what's changed. This is what completely changed my mind and engaged me and committed me to visualization as a practice. These 3 athletes, the experiment was, one group of athletes rehearsed physically. So they trained every single day out on the field, training physically, getting physically stronger. The second only trained in their mind. So they literally played the movie in their mind of them on the field training, but they did no physical. The third group did nothing. No mental training, no physical training. Out of the 3 test subjects that were tested on their performance as athletes, and I'm making sure I get this right, the group of visualizers outperformed the other 2 groups collectively by 80%. That's amazing. That's incredible. Our brain doesn't know the difference. It doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not real. It doesn't know the difference between you creating a movie and you actually doing something. So when you visualize, you trick the brain into believing that you're doing something successfully. We get more of what we already are. We get more of what we already believe to be true. And you'll know what I mean by this. You know, if you, let's say you started chanting, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire. Your brain goes, no, you're not, no, you're not, no, you're not. And then there's conflict, right? If you already feel something, you can already see yourself doing it. You engage every part of your mind, your body. If you can mentally rehearse doing something. So for me, that 10K month, the visualization for that, and whatever it might be for you, it might be different. But for me, it was always imagining having that conversation with my mom, sharing it with her, calling her and going, Mom, I did it. Jess, my sister, I did it. We've done it. We've hit it. We've done it. Imagine celebrating with James. Imagine seeing it in my account on the screen. Whether it might be your Stripe account, seeing it land in your Stripe account. What would it mean for you? Would your goal, if your goal is about clients, a certain amount of clients, how would it look when you knew you'd achieved it? Would it be you being in a discovery session and hearing, yes, I'd love to? Would it be you receiving PayPal notifications? What would it look like specifically? That's what you need to start mentally rehearsing. And don't worry if it feels hard at first. Don't get frustrated with yourself if you can't see it clearly straight away. Just keep going and just know that everything gets easier with practice. The next step. So what have we done so far? We've got really clear on what we want. We've allowed ourselves to just focus on that one thing. We've then allowed ourselves to be obsessed and consumed by it. We then, I'm losing track, visualize. Step 4, get excited and act as if. Everything has to align fully for you to receive what you want with ease. If there's anything that's worrying you, blocking you, creating any sort of resistance, then you're going to find it really difficult to manifest fast. I was working with a lady a few years ago, and I wrote about this in my book because it's just such a powerful example of resistance and how it comes up and how it blocks us from receiving the things that we say we want. This lady was amazing. All my clients are amazing. And she was no different. She was a lawyer who ran her own practice. And so professional, corporate powerhouse. Let me tell you, there is nothing about being an entrepreneur, nothing that I do to create the sort of wealth that I've created in business that this woman is not capable of. Absolutely not. I am definitely no better than her. Yet, she made excuses. So we'd have sessions and the kids had been ill. I didn't do that because of this. I had a crisis, I was sick, I was tired, blah, blah, blah. This stuff was coming up. Now I know this powerhouse of a woman has been through law school. She survived in a really quite a masculine environment as a minority, as a woman in law firms in the US. She's then gone on to become a business owner and open up her practice. Now she's launching this online business that's going to give her more freedom and everything that she says she wants, yet she's not doing it. What's up here? Resistance is what's up. She's not excited and she's not acting as if she's going in the direction of her goals. There's resistance. So I started asking her a question in one of our sessions. And it was a Zoom session, so she could see me like this and I could see her. And I said to her, tell me, first thing that comes up when I ask you this question, what's going to be the worst part of you achieving your goal? When you launch this online business and you're earning 20K a month from it, what's going to be the worst part for you? What are the negative consequences of you doing this? And she just looked at me for a couple of seconds and then said, nothing. There is no worst part. There's no negatives. That's why I'm going after it. Nothing. I can't think of anything. There's nothing bad that's going to come of it. It's going to give me everything that I want. I said, yeah, but what's the worst part though? What would be the worst part? I understand that it's what you want, but what would be the worst part? And this went on for a little bit. And then I had to, and she still, nothing. You could see her back was going up a little bit. She was getting a bit pissed with me. I could tell. She's like, why do you keep asking me the same question? I'm going to keep giving you the same answer. Nothing, Michelle. I said, but if there was something, then what would it be? If there was a bad part, what would the bad part be? And this exchange kept going. And then she went, well, I can't think of anything, but I suppose if there was going to be something, well, I'd be working from home all the time. And my husband works from home. And we'd be in the office together probably. We'd probably argue a lot and we'd probably affect our relationship. And yeah, we'd like probably affect our relationship. Like that's probably the worst part. Yeah. And then as she was saying it, and I didn't say anything, I just let her speak, she started to realise that she had this, very often these things are quite unconscious. They're not consciously acknowledged and faced head on, but they're just little niggles that kind of sit there that we keep batting away. And one of hers had been, if I'm really successful and I leave the law practice and I'm at home all the time, my husband and I normally argue when we're on holidays because we're in each other's space too much. So if I'm at home, even though I'm saying that's what I want, I don't think our relationship can handle that. And there it was, resistance that she hadn't acknowledged. But if there's resistance and if there's something worrying us, we're not fully aligned with what we say we want. So we don't act as if excitement moves things to you really, really fast. So if you want to manifest your goals with speed, you've got to get excited. You've got to spend time filling yourself up with feelings of anticipation, and you've got to do it on a daily basis. You've got to go to your goals and feel the feelings of excitement for what your life's going to be like when you achieve it. And anything that's niggling, that's going, oh, but what if this? You've got to face it head on. Go there, explore it. What if? So one of the things that we did as a result of this was we faced it head on and we said, right, let's eradicate this. Let's know there's a way around it, because there's a way around everything. Chat to your husband, have the conversation, get it out in the open. What does he think about it? If you know it's going to be a problem, how can you avoid it? Is it going to mean having two offices? Is it going to mean you working from somewhere different? Like, what's the solution? We just got to find the solution, and then it gets rid of the resistance. But we've got to acknowledge it first. The next step, master your thoughts and feelings. What we think and what we feel the most is what shows up in our life. Fact. So it makes sense, doesn't it, to make a really conscious effort to monitor how we feel, so we can then say, well, what thought has just created that feeling? If you're trying to manifest a better income, more clients, yet the constant feeling is scarcity around money, debts, you find your thoughts constantly drifting off to the lack of that you're experiencing in your life, and those feelings of anxiety, then of course more of that is going to show up for you, because we're not in total alignment with the thing that we want. When I think back to the first stages of this for me, when I was seeing one thing in my bank account and experiencing another in my visualization, I used to get this inner conflict. Tell me if you can relate to this in the chat box. Who gets an inner conflict, like a battle with yourself? Because you know that thoughts become things, and you know that what you think about, you bring about. The reality you can't get away from. If you're looking at your bank account and it says £0, and then that creates anxiety, and there's this conflict, like, oh my God, I shouldn't be thinking about that, I shouldn't be looking at that. Oh shit, now I've had a bad thought, and now I feel like shit, and now I'm attracting more shit. Oh God. And then the panic sets in. I used to spend so much time in this battle with myself on it, and it's exhausting. You can get to the end of the week and feel like you've done 10 rounds with Mike Tyson and you've achieved nothing but beat yourself up for thinking bad things. We have enough things to battle with, don't we, on a daily basis as business owners. Adding yourself to the mix is totally unnecessary. I used to go to seminars all the time in the beginning. I was living in the UK in the early days, so I could get to a seminar on a regular occasion. It's a little bit more challenging now, but I still go to a seminar at least a couple of times a year and get in the room with people that I can learn from. It's a massive part of my growth. And back then, I remember being at a seminar where there was a lady on the stage and she was talking about this exact thing. And she was saying it's like a devil and an angel. The devil's going, you're fucking useless, you're broke, you're not going to be able to change it, you're heading for a disaster, be aware. And the angel's going, you've got this, don't listen to him. And it's like, it's fucking horrible. And she was describing getting the devil and throwing it on the floor and stamping on it and like going to war with it like it was the enemy. And what I've learned is that approach doesn't work, because whether you're arguing with something, shouting at it, telling it to go away, or you're giving it attention, you're giving it energy. Where energy goes, where focus goes, energy flows. What we focus on, we get more of. So that's the last thing you want to be doing, is getting into that internal battle with yourself and beating yourself up for thinking and feeling a certain way. What I've noticed, and what is a much nicer way of dealing with it and a much more productive, is that the angel and the devil are a manifestation of your thoughts. And they both want the same thing. They're just going about it in a different way. The devil's alerting you, like, danger, danger. And the angel's trying to comfort you, but they both want the same thing. They're both just looking out for you. So what about if you were to be fascinated by it instead? You know, when I feel shit, and I do sometimes, of course I do. This doesn't just happen in the beginning of your journey in business. This is something that you're constantly evolving. When I feel shit and I encounter a shit person or a shit situation, or I monitor how I feel. I notice the feeling and I immediately try and recall the last thought or the last few thoughts that I've had that have led to the feeling. Because the feeling's just like, it's almost like the feedback that the thinking's off. It's the first alert that, you know, something's not right up here. So I get a feeling and I recall the thought. And then I get fascinated by the thought. Rather than going to war with it, going, you shouldn't be thinking that, motherfucker, get out of my head. Instead, I go, oh, isn't that fascinating that that's just been thrown up? That fear is there. Thank you, though. Thank you for that. Really appreciate you looking out for me. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thoughts. I know you only mean well, but I need to grow through this. I need to push through this up a limit. And that thought doesn't serve me. So I'm going to say, cancel, clear, delete, and I'm going to move on. And make a conscious effort to switch my thought to something that makes me feel good. Choose to think something else instead. So when the brain for you might go, you're not going to sign any clients this month, don't be fucking stupid, it's going to be the same as last month, and you're going to end up broke by the end of the month, and this is going to go on for a few months, and then you're not going to be able to pay your bills, and everyone's going to laugh at you. You only have to think that once to feel your heart drop and your energy levels dip, but then you that feedback you take a check on and you go, okay, what if I just think that made me feel like that? I thought that the clients aren't going to sign on. No. Thank you for that. I understand you're trying to alert me to potential danger, but that's okay, because I'm in the growth zone right now. And what if loads of clients signed up today? I want to get excited about that. So I'm going to choose that instead. So cancel, clear, delete, and let's switch to excitement. The next step, and the last but one step, is to let go of the how and just allow. This is step 6 out of 7. The how's not your job. Now, you know I'm all for strategy. Of course I am. Every business needs a process. Every business needs a strategy. Every business needs a step-by-step blueprint that tells you how you're going to get from where you are to where you want to go. Of course it does. But sometimes there's a plot twist, and sometimes we've got to be flexible in that. The most successful people are also the most flexible people. They're not the most rigid in their thinking. When you decide that things should happen a certain way, you stop the universe from working its magic. Lots of people set their goals far too small because they get caught up in, and concerned about how they're gonna get them. A lot of people that come to me when I have an initial call with them and we talk about their goals, when I ask what they want, they're playing small. They're playing small because they don't know how to build anything really big. But just because you don't know how doesn't mean that it's not possible. When you get caught up in the how, you end up setting goals that are way too small for you, rather than focusing on something way bigger and then working out how to get there. A few years ago, I set the intention of moving to Lanzarote for a year because I like the island. I wanted to work out whether I could live there more full time and have a home there, a base there. I never say live there full time because I like to move around way too much to commit to that. But, you know, could I have a home here? Could this be somewhere where we might put down some roots? To know that, I need to live there for about a year because I know myself and I know that 3 months isn't enough because I'm still in that variety novelty stage. But a year gives me a good gauge on whether this is somewhere I want to spend more time. So I did this process. I got really clear about what I wanted. And when I say clear, I mean ridiculously clear. What did I want the house to look like? I knew that I wanted it to be big enough to have family and friends over. I wanted to be close to the sea. I wanted a pool that I could take a dip in because it gets hot. There was all these things on my wish list. And then I released it and I was like, okay, universe, let's go. And I started looking on the internet on rental properties for a long-term let. And it became obvious really quickly that there was nothing out there. And the reason there's nothing out there is because it's a holiday destination with year-round sun. So it's got 12-month holiday market. So people that own property there want to rent them to the holiday market because they can get more bang for their buck. Jackie, that's how we met. Kind of. But we lived on the same island. It's a beautiful island. And I was desperate to get there. But what I thought would happen in the how was that I'd go online and find somewhere. And Jackie, you'll vouch for me in this. It's not that simple. So I got off the internet and I felt my vibration dip. And it's because I'd thought, oh, maybe Lanzarote is not possible then. I didn't need to change the goal. I just needed to let go of the how. See, I thought it was going to come in by me Googling and then reaching out to an agent and then putting me in contact with someone and suddenly I'd have a house, but it wasn't going to come in that way. So I quickly got a check on it and was like, okay, fine. It's not going to come in that way, but it is happening. So come on, universe, show me. Show me the way to Lanzarote. Where there's a will, there's a way, and we are making this happen. And I focused on getting my vibration really high. And then what happened was it turned out that a friend's mum had a property that she was willing to rent long-term for a year. And it happened like that. And the exact house with the exact criteria and everything that I wanted fell into my lap in a completely different way because I let go of the how and I just trusted. There has to be an element of trust. If you're going to push, force, resist, insist on it being a certain way, then you can miss the magic that's happening around you. And lastly, we've got to take inspired action. Step 7 is taking inspired action. Things don't just fall into your lap. Even with that Lanzarote analogy, I still got to look for the signs and take action. To suggest something different would be like sitting on the sofa going, I'm thin, I'm thin, I'm thin, I'm thin, while shoveling pizza in my mouth. It's still going straight to my thighs. No matter how much I chant, I'm thin, I'm thin, I'm thin. We've got to take inspired action. I believe that when we declare what we want, we get really clear, we get obsessed, and we take these steps, life becomes like a treasure hunt. It takes on such a special and magical meaning. We start to see things like clues and indications of how we can move towards what we want. But when we see them, we've got to go for it. We've got to take action. It always brings up a story when I think about this that describes it perfectly. There was a man that we're going to call Andrew, and Andrew lived in a really little village. He loved where he lived. Every year, the river would break its banks when it rained quite heavily and the village would flood. And on this particular year, rain came down heavy in a short space of time, and the whole village flooded really quickly. Where there was roads, it turned to rivers, and it was really strong current waters, very dangerous, and the village started to evacuate. Andrew was a man of God. So where I say universe, you may say God. He had faith and trust in a higher power to take care of him and to deliver the things that he wanted. Allowing, because it takes faith and it takes trust, and he was a man of faith and trust. So when the village started to evacuate, Andrew stayed put with the thought process of, I'll be fine because I have faith that I'm taken care of by God. And as people were packing up, they were calling out to Andrew saying, do you want to jump in the car with us? We can get your stuff in the back of our van. We had so many offers to travel with people out of the village and to evacuate with them safely. And he kept saying, no, it's cool. I don't need that. I'm taken care of. God is going to look after me. The village started to evacuate and he stayed put. The water carried on rising. And it consumed the bottom floor of his house. So we had to go upstairs. Andrew and his little dog were upstairs in the bedroom looking out. The water was still rising. And his friend happened to go past in the village on a boat. And he was calling out to Andrew saying, quick, jump in. I've got you. I'm leaving. You can come with me. There's room for you and your dog. Let's leave. And Andrew shouts out, no, it's cool. You go without me. It's fine. I trust that I am totally taken care of. I don't need to do anything. It's cool. You go. The water continues to rise. Andrew's entire house is now underwater and he's on the roof with his dog, freezing. There's no one around. And a helicopter comes, throws down a ladder, and he's like, grab onto the ladder, let's go. And Andrew shouts up, no, I'm okay. I'm taken care of. God's got this. The helicopter leaves him. Andrew dies. He drowns. He gets to heaven and he's pissed. He's like, are you fucking kidding me? I had so much faith and so much trust in you to save me, and you didn't save me. You let me perish. And God goes, are you fucking kidding me? I sent you a load of help in the people from the village. I sent you a guy with a boat, and then I sent you a freaking helicopter, and you said no to all of it. And that's why you are where you are. And that's what I mean by taking inspired action. So let's just revisit the 7 steps very quickly, and then we're going to finish. Make sure you've got all of this down. You can manifest the shit out of your goals this year really quickly. But if you're feeling flat and foggy, it's because you've lost sight of this stuff. You've lost sight of the magic. Step 1, get really clear about what you want. Step 2, get obsessed. Allow yourself to just be obsessed by one thing. Step 3, visualize the shit out of it. Create a movie in your mind that sees you achieving this thing. Step 4, get excited and act as if with no resistance. Step 5, master your thoughts and feelings. Keep them in check. Step 6, let go of the how and just allow, stop interfering. And step 7, take action, inspired action. I hope that was helpful. One last thing from me. If you feel inspired to take action in a different way than you ever have right now, and you think, I am ready to combine this stuff with killer business strategy to level up fast, then reach out to me and let's have a conversation. Because I'm going to be putting some time aside over the next week in my inbox to talk to people like you if you're really ready. We're going to establish how ready you are, what type of business you're running, whether you feel like premium level mentorship is the right call for you right now. And if it is the right call, I'm going to invite you onto a call to talk about that a little bit more and talk about dates that we could potentially get started on working together on this. So all you need to do is send me a message and let me know that you feel ready for the next level really, really quickly. Thanks for listening, guys. Speak to you soon.